Thank you, Chase. And today on Nursing the North, we're diving into some of the strange and fascinating phobias that people have experienced throughout the generations. And you've probably heard of nomophobia, that anxious feeling when you're without your phone. But what about fears from even further back? Thanks for joining us this morning. It's, always interesting to talk about phobias.
That's right. Nomophobia, the fear of losing your phone. Not something I have. I'm fine with if I leave the house and I forgot my phone. I do not panic. I don't have to run back. But I do have friends, Becky, I'm going to call you out on it, because I do have people who will stop everything. They have to go home. They have to have their phones.
See, if I lose my phone, I know it's like a couple places, so it's not the end of the world. No. And I never have it on ringer anyway.
Right.
But wallet, though. My wallet, if I'm out and about and I don't feel it in my back pocket, I do panic a little bit.
I have heard that one from many people said the same thing. Wallet's something they have to know where it is. That makes sense. You've got money, things like that.
Exactly. I don't want someone else having, a Michael Lodeholtz ID just walking around.
Right.
But let's dive right into it. There's a lot of fun things to talk about with this. So let's hear a little about the unusual phobias from the past generations. How are phobias and fears different?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the phobias from the past, which you might find interesting, radiophobia. So that is a fear of X-rays. So after the discovery of radioactivity and the mysterious effects, some people became intensely fearful of X-rays, even avoiding light bulbs and wrist watches that glowed in the dark. Another one is chlorophobia, and that's the fear of the color green. While rare today, some past societies associated green with poison or illness, especially before the dangers of arsenic. A lot of the inks had arsenic in them in the pigments, so of course they were fearful of that. Neurasthenia, that is just common, having to do with the upper class. It was a phobia of an umbrella of diagnosis, which were anxieties of overworked nerves. So triggered by modern inventions like trains, telegrams, things like that actually cause their nerves to have, feel overexcited. Okay. So then there's automophobia, fear of wax figures or mannequins.
Oh my goodness.
And there's argyrophobia. That's a fear of crossing the street. So when they went from horse and wagon to motorized vehicles, the chaos made them fearful to cross the street. They were afraid of getting hurt.
It's a busy street.
Allophobia is a fear of flutes or flute music, having to do with past, what would they call them? They would have, flute music was usually associated with ceremonies and things like that. So those could be dangerous and thought to be dangerous. So those are some of the past phobias. So while we might think a phobia of losing your phone is crazy, they had other crazy phobias in the past too.
Yeah, the wristwatches, the glow-in-the-dark wristwatches.
Yeah. But can you imagine, if you never had electricity and you just don't know what is this going to happen, this is coming into my house, how are the lights now just glowing? Would be very strange.
It's a whole new world then.
Yeah.
My goodness.
And so fear and a phobia, they're pretty much the same thing. I mean, a phobia is an intense, irrational fear. So it's a fear of something that isn't really there. For example, I know we were talking, I have a fear of fish. Like going into a lake and a fish coming up to me just freaks me out. I have this, and I know it's irrational. They're not gonna eat me. They're not gonna, it's not like Jaws. They're not gonna take big chunks of skin, but I don't know, they just freak me out. So that would be my phobia.
Some of those muskies can get pretty big. Honestly, they can take a toe off.
They can. So. And I used to have toe rings that I kept on my toes, so I just thought, oh my gosh, that's just enticing them to come. So yeah, I had to do a lot of kicking, have a real fear of that. Yeah.
Well, all right. So can you give us some tips on helping with dealing with these fears or phobias and healing from them?
Absolutely. So that's the good news. There are things we can do.
That's good.
If we do have a phobia or something that's irrational that we know in our mind should not be there, but it's still preventing us from doing things in our day-to-day life. So one of the big things is you want to have that conversation with your doctor. There is cognitive behavioral therapy. There are medications for it. There's exposure therapy, which is kind of just what I do because I have to swim. So you just dive in and try not to think about it. There's virtual reality therapies where it's a type of exposure where you're seeing those things. Then there's medications like beta blockers, antidepressants, regular exercise, eating healthy. Just staying healthy can help your mind function a little better too. And then there's like support groups, help groups, self-help videos, things like that you can use as well.
There we go. So if you have any of the fear electricity or fish, or there's things that can be done about it.
Right. Especially those fears that are preventing you from like leaving your house or cooking dinner or doing things that you need to do day to day, then you definitely want to go and seek help.
Well, there you go. Well, thanks for taking the time this morning to tell us all about these phobias. It's certainly been an interesting time. Well, and coming up after the break, we're going to have What's Trending with Chase and I. We look forward to seeing you right after the break.